Tim Jackson is going to be with us today. Good morning, Tim.
Morning, Tina. It's good to be with you. It took a crisis like the pandemic for governments to understand, to realize that prosperity at its heart is as much about health as it is about economic growth. And they began to slow down their economies, slow down travel, slow down exchange, that fundamental aspect of capitalism, in order to protect human health. If you think about health, the fundamental principle of health is as much about balance as it is about growth. If the economy is getting bigger and bigger and the planet is not, at some point there's going to be a crunch point and we're going to start trashing the planet. We're going to have climate change problems. We're going to lose species. It forces us to address exactly what prosperity means and how to deliver an economy of care. We have to begin to think about enterprise as service, as a commitment to society, commitment to the future, and returning us, if you like, to a sense that the economy itself has a purpose. And if we take it seriously to society, that what lies ahead is not a more difficult place, but actually a place in which we understand for the first time our place in the world and begin to realize our own potential as human beings.
Thank you, Tim. That was a really good actually presentation. From your perspective, after we saw the biggest financial crisis of the modern history, what really did wrong in these 12 years, or which precautions cannot be taken, or it was really written but not implemented from your point of view?
We do have a choice here. We have a choice of how to recover, where to put resources. And it seems to me very clear that we should be recovering in a way that learns the lessons of this crisis and the previous crisis, that we need to protect our climate, we need to protect people, we need to protect economy of care, we need to protect frontline workers.
Do you really believe that capitalism itself can come to this point that instead of, leaving the output purely to the biggest shareholder, except that all the stakeholders can benefit from not equally, but some sort of this output and make the equality in a better way by itself, or capitalism has to be directed, has to be fine-tuned by someone?
Talking about stakeholder capitalism instead of shareholder capitalism isn't actually that new. It's been a part of the language of environmental and social governments, corporate responsibility, sustainable capitalism for as long as I can remember. I think the New York Times called it, will be the one to save us.
Reducing carbon emissions, green finance, all sort of things. I just try to ask you, why all of a sudden capitalist economy system, give it too much importance about these two or couple, environmentally related, aspects? Do you really think that these are going to be primary partners of the financial system as the EBITDA, as the P&L, as the balance sheet, columns?
But was at the time an extraordinary moment of realization, a confrontation of the political class by a 15-year-old schoolgirl making a blatantly obvious point about fairy tales of economic growth, as she called it. And, what came out of that actually was a strengthening of our commitment to climate, a strengthening of our political targets to reduce carbon, and an awareness actually that government was sort of being held to account by a bunch of school kids for its failures to protect life and the planet. In the process, actually, somehow in the collective memory, in the collective politics, the intention to do something seriously about climate change continued.
Do you think that ESG criteria can be a cornerstone that we can switch from the finance capitalism to production based on capitalism?
Can we transform capitalism through environmental and social and governance criteria on the financial market? I mean, actually, I have been a believer in that idea, and I have done my best to work with those who take that idea seriously, that actually there is a transformation within financial markets that has to happen. And it has to happen along the lines of environmental protection, social justice, and good governance.
If any kind of a new system will be the, let's say, today's popular view of the mutation of the old capitalism, how optimistic can we that things will change fundamentally Why don't we shut down this part and go to the future with a new system?
It does seem to me we also have another lesson there, which is that countries and societies which have tried to change rapidly, desperately from one system to another have often resorted to means which are violent, disruptive, with profound long-term consequences. First and only role of government is the protection of life and health and not its destruction. And I think it's a profound principle that is transformative, ultimately. Think about where we are, think about what we're doing. And I really, really appreciate the dialogue, because it seems to me that that's actually one of the tools at our disposal, is to have clear, constant, open, discursive conversations with each other about how we want to live, what kind of society we want to be in. And I think that's the question of the day.
Thank you, Tim.